All right, good morning. We are going back to New Orleans from the Driftwood Motel. We have an event at the Hotel Pearl. We are craning the pool into place on our terrace level outdoor pool area. Back to my apartment after that, back into the operating side of the business. I have to get that going, this new service, so it's fully operational and stabilized by the time my current contracts on these projects expire. A little breakfast before getting back on the road. Beef jerky, bone broth, raspberries and yogurt, water, and what we do have here at the Driftwood. All right. I'm running late. Holy shit, bud. This interchange here is nuts. I'm running late, so hard hat's coming on in the car. Let's see if I see the crane. Ran upstairs to get a better view. See? It was a big ass pool. They used a tape measure to guide it into place, which was interesting. I gotta run home, clean up. It's hot as hell in New Orleans right now, and then get to work. But I have to clean some mold, some mildew out of my apartment first, which is gonna be fun. I'm back home. This is my little carriage house apartment. Got lunch, cleaned up the mold, now I'm done. I've got rice and shrimp left over, some kiwi, and then I'm gonna go through what I have to do with you right now. Before we get into this little planning sesh, while I have you here, I wanted to talk about something that's really helped me lately with motivation, which has just been fully realizing and fully taking responsibility and accountability for the fact that I'm not where I want to be, if that's the case, in any moment, in any area of my life. I've never brooded over the fact about where others are. I've never really used that, but I have always looked to people that are in certain places where I want to get to, whether that be business or personal, a lifestyle. And I've looked at that as models for action and models for achieving success or some sort of result. And recently I've been looking at it a bit differently, almost like it feels, anything and everything feels much more within grasp as I've accomplished even just some things in my life and on my path that I've set. And I look back on how I accomplished those initial first steps, and I realize it came down to me taking action and doing specific things. And so the gap now is very clear that between me and where I want to get to is me. And it's forced me to look at every area in my life. For example, the way I eat, or the way I sleep or treat my body, and really question, is this helping me get there? If the gap between me and where I want to be is me, how can you ignore any part of you? It is okay not to eat perfectly, not to exercise all the time, not to do everything in those areas perfectly. But then you have to be okay with the fact that you are choosing that, and that that is a factor in why you are not where you want to be. I am going to start on the boulders. We found out from the county we have to add a few hundred square feet before we can get approved. I just have to get a couple emails out to my architect, my contractor, and my civil engineer to make sure they're doing what they're doing. For the Pearl, I have this idea to produce a series of videos detailing the story of the Pearl, but not just the build process, the true story from the very beginning, which stretches like 7 years from inception through. It involves drama with politicians and lobbying, deals getting stolen. COVID came right in the middle. They had a fight to keep the building and keep the deal alive. There's definitely a story there. I think it's well suited for YouTube. I'm trying to sell the partnership on basically putting some marketing budget there. And it's unconventional to put hotel marketing budget behind, an independent creator in me. These videos would be posted to my YouTube, clipped up, posted to my socials. But my feeling is that will go farther driving awareness and engagement of the hotel, because people engage and become attached to stories and people, right? Not brands, especially in the early days. And then on the topic of doing content, there's this one girl, this freelancer that I have the most confidence that could possibly help me because she's not a true videographer freelancer. She is a social media advertising creative. And in my conversation with her, we got much deeper into who am I? What am I trying to show? What's the point of everything I'm doing? And I've always felt like if I could have someone who is creative, more creative than me, take hold of this, it could work. Because what you need is someone who buys into the story, as I do, and wants to tell it as best as it can be told. And a lot of videographers just look at editing and making cuts. So giving it one go with this girl to try to bring her into the fold and see if she can help may take 15, let's give it 20 minutes. Then there's this group that seems willing or open to the idea of developing deal page on Bubble so I can switch off my current unstable tech stack in exchange for sharing the process and going through that process with them on social. I just need to get them over all of my stuff, my like data architecture, this scope document I have, all the features, Loom video on what's included. I would probably give that actually 30 minutes. So what we have right there is basically 2 hours. And then I have 2 hours I'm in this program, Client Ascension, helping me get my online service business for human capital, the investment memo service, off the ground and launched. There's steps that I've been going through with them, getting the offer dialed in, getting a VSL, video sales letter done, getting the landing page done. Now my cold emails are all primed and ready to go. I think I'm close to pressing go on these campaigns and sending out dozens of cold emails a day. So that's in total about 4 hours of work. It's 12:31 right now. I'm going to take a second, walk down to Whole Foods. I need to get a few things. I'm going to use it as a break, think through everything. All right, so let's check in on the folders. I originally built this feature into Deal Page with to-dos and file management and notes. Deal Page was I wouldn't say it was heading in the direction, like the product was naturally heading in the direction of like a project management tool. I steered it in that direction because I need a simple, not overbuilt project management tool. All the others like ClickUp and they're just so complicated. So I started layering in these features. I've just recently decided to strip all this stuff out and make Deal Page just about making pages. I don't want to overcomplicate this product. What I may do is literally keep this built on Webflow as it is and just host it on some random domain and just use it myself because it is very useful. But let's check in on this, okay? So what's going on right now is we need to get our site plan review approved. And the site plan, people who are in development know, and most people may know, rezoning. It's when you take a piece of land that's zoned as something and you rezone it to allow for something else. Usually land will say you can only build single family here. If you want to do a multifamily apartment building, you can get it rezoned. That's what this site plan review is. So the work here has been in all these subcontracted engineers, architects, etc. to get that full package submitted. I can actually show you a little bit of what that looks like in this whole ass packet, which is actually a combination of several different plans. The county essentially redlines it, and then wherever the red lines are, the contractor who made those plans, like here we switched Fleetwood Engineering is the septic designer versus WLB, which is the civil. So the different contractors have to respond to their specific comments. This is the lighting plan here. And I think where we left off, Rob, our civil, just needs to get the lighting engineer to update his plans and send them back. SPR review, Rob has everything, needs to resubmit. I just emailed him and asked him if he's ready to resubmit, and if not, why. The next thing that's up, we have this costing document here. This is where we've kept track of our budget, and what we actually need is more accurate pricing on the roads and trenching, which we have an excavator doing, and he's pricing that out. Reagan said he's in the process. So I'm just gonna add costing. Bert is pricing off most recent site plan. And then Dallin, our architect, we found out from the county that we have to get our architect to go back in and basically add 200 square feet. And the way we're doing that is by extending what is right now this covered portico structure up front. And we're going to cover the shower area for 50 of it. And then we'll get 150 extra here by extending from 6 feet in depth to 12 feet in depth, which I actually like. I think that'll be a good outdoor seating area. So I'm going to email our architect. This is me proposing a few different plans for how we could execute on this. So I've done as much as as I can do, probably more than most developers would do. And now I just have to manage to get that process done. So this reminded me of something. I need to get this site lighting plan from what's called a design review set, which is the same as a construction document or permitting set, but just not totally complete. The thing that's missing here is the power system. All we needed for the SPR was design review. Now that we're getting to the end of the SPR and we're ready to start the building permit process, need to get that complete. The firm that did the lighting set said it would take like 5 weeks to do the power plan. So I went to a separate solar consultant that we use to do the power plan for the units themselves. And I'm trying to coordinate between the two of them. That was probably a mistake because it's ended up taking longer than 5 weeks anyways. Luckily, this hasn't been holding the project up. The county's been holding the project up. But lesson learned, like just go keep things under one roof because it's hard enough to coordinate with just one of these subcontracted engineering groups. But I'll show you, like, as I'm trying to coordinate these two now, my frustration has grown, and I've just learned these people are adults and the professionals, and this is their job. And for a long time, I've taken on more and more burden in these development projects to like get things done. I'll give you an example. On the lighting, I've gone as far as really doing the job of these subcontracted engineers in laying things out in Figma and showing like this is what we need to do. These are the lights that need power in phase 1. These are the lights that need power in phase 2. And now I'm just going to send an email and say, hey, have you two figured this out? I've armed you with exactly our phasing, how we're approaching it, the measurements of the buildings and how many solar panels we can fit where. Like, take this the rest of the way home. This is on you. All right, so here I'm just going to say site lighting. Chad needs to confirm with Dave what exactly he needs. All right, that's pushing the ball forward with the boulders. Let's move on to Pearl content. So this is going to be a really fun one. I almost feel like this should be a separate video, but let's just roll with it. If you're here still in this video, you're getting a treat. So I had a phone conversation with one of the main partners on the Hotel Pearl and got the story from him about when this thing started, as far as the very first idea up until today, or at least when I had that call. We made it all the way to November 2020, believe it or not, the first 3 years of this deal, and there's 4 more to go. But this is enough for my purposes, because here's the deal. I'm trying to pitch, like I said, this partnership group on doing this YouTube series. And I've thought about this YouTube series. The two comps are Jenna Phipps. So she's renovating a house in Vancouver. She just does the very raw.
Yeah, so a reason that we cut this beam, and you can actually see where it hit the ground, is
she's grown to 1 million subscribers, and it just shows like there's no fancy edits or cuts in here. It's just straight up raw process. Now I can't really do that on the Pearl. That process is even further removed at an arm's length for me, the developer, than the driftwood. But I can get in there. Like I can go in there and show the contractor. I actually think it would resemble a mix of Jenna Phipps and this other guy. What's his name? Johnny. This might be pushing it a little bit.
Up in the Zagros Mountains have long lived a people called the Kurds. They're a people with a centuries-long history of fighting tree of their own.
Okay, so the idea would be mainly in those map graphics. I saw something coming together. This is what we're going to do right now. I want to transition from this story outline to the first 2 episodes. So what I'm going to do is full story. I'm going to label this and add a header to it. I want to type out these first 2 episodes and show it to Mike, the main partner on the Pearl, and say, hey, like, here's the story. Do you think this is going to be good? If you do, I need $1,000 to get it done. Like, let's do it. So in my head, and I want to use Claude to help me map this out. What I might even do is download the transcript of a Jenna Phipps video. Actually, I may not need to download the transcript of that. You know what I really like to do is I use this app called Transcribe, and I just speak into it, transcribe it to text, and then I upload that to Claude. And what I may do is transcribe, I'll do this right now, what I'm thinking about for the first episode of this show, in the overview of this show, and then upload that along with this story outline and see what Claude gives me. So I got that transcription started. I recorded that. Now I'm going to transcribe this. I put it into this free tool. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to Claude. I'm going to say, listen to instructions and context file for everything you need to know on this task. Copied/attached below is additional context on Hotel Pearl and the transcription from Johnny. So that's that. I am gonna upload. I have some additional context that I wrote out about Hotel Pearl for another purpose somewhere else. I'm just gonna label this additional context, and then my transcription should be finishing up. All right, so that last thing is done. The main story notes from my interview with the partner. Additional context is right here, and then the Johnny Harris YouTube. It will figure it out. Additional context on Hotel Pearl, the Hotel Pearl pitch deck. Let's see if it can synthesize all this. Oh, this is pretty good. All right, let's see. I just scanned this briefly, but I'm gonna pull this over to Google Docs. So episode 1, the birth of the hotel concept and group travel. Okay, so we got opening shot. Buck standing in front of Hotel Pearl, 30 seconds. Introduce the building and history. Mention the ongoing renovation. Upcoming opening in October. Tease before and after visuals. That's good. Explain Urban's vision to scale up the concept. Cool. Introduce the key players. I like this. This all is really good. You don't need to see the rest of this, but that's how I'm rolling making this outline. Honestly, I'm super impressed with how this has turned out. We've got 2 episodes pretty much scripted out. They're all about 15 to 20 minutes, and then 3 more potential episodes, lightly scripted, and then an allusion to like what would come next. I think this would be an 8 to 10 episode series, and what I'm gonna do now, because I'm under a time crunch, I have this videographer set to go for tomorrow. I am going to I'm gonna text my partners and say, 2 of the partners, and say, hey, I interviewed Mike last week. There is a definite story here with the Pearl. I think it would do great on YouTube. I think it would be great to clip up for social and short form. I think we'd get a ton of engagement. We'd tell this story. I can almost guarantee that we will get at least our money back in terms of bookings off of this, and the ceiling is much, much higher. I'm gonna text it and say, I need a decision by tonight. All right, check this out. This is actually what I sent here. Last week I interviewed Mike briefly on Pearl Genesis story. We spent 45 minutes and made it from 2017 to 2020. There's a definite story here about keeping this deal alive through a lot of drama and seeing it through. Pitched you guys on doing a long form content series on this for YouTube and to be clipped up to Instagram. Are you guys down to go for it? I need an answer by tonight because I have the videographer ready for tomorrow. We've already received 8 pre-bookings via social. I'm confident we will more than get our money back through this content effort, and potentially much, much more. All while really elevating Urban's brand. Read the initial script I wrote. I think you'll see the potential. So we'll see what they say. Now, I'm gonna take a quick break for a second, maybe do a little workout or go for a walk. I'm trying to get up from my desk more often throughout the day. All right, back from that walk. Spare you the next couple of hours because I'm sweaty as hell. But I'm gonna jump in on that content. I'll show you the document I'm talking about, like overview outline to give to this potential freelancer strategist in just a minute. I got that content stuff edited and over to that girl. It took longer than expected, maybe 2 hours as opposed to 1. I'll show you that in a second, but just want to show you for dinner what I'm doing. I'm gonna cook up this ground beef now, eat it tonight, half of it, the other half save. Cook up this salmon because it's been thawed, save. Cook up all these vegetables, save some of it to go with this stuff. And I'll probably do some of this rice. I like to warm it up. I don't use microwaves at all. I like to warm it up in a saucepan with bone broth. And I'll have some fruit tonight and with all this stuff over the next day or 2. All right, wheels up on this meal. Ground beef, rice, fruit, water. So closing out the night here, it's like 10:30. Didn't get to everything on my list. Left off the preparation and sending of deal page information to this potential bubble low-code development group that would be transitioning deal page to a new platform. Did not get to the operating business cold email program, like set up and getting prepared to launch that cold email outreach. But a couple key things happened today. Number 1, I won't say it's done until I get the first wire, but landed a huge monthly advisory client. So that's going to be a big lift, but it's enough revenue to put my focus there. It's a huge win right now. Number 2, had some trouble come in from a deal page user. Let me show you this. So this user made a deal page and they emailed me. I have my email open in another window, just saying they were having some issues. Again, why I want to transfer the deal page platform or product to another platform. Some of these issues are almost inexplicable. I keep going back and forth with my developer, and it's just issues with Webflow, what we built it on. So I'm making these edits for them. Like, they can't seem to update this stuff for some reason, no matter how many times they try to go in and edit. So I'm going back and forth doing the manual work to update this for them. And that's just where the product's at for now, but got to get that done. And then after this, I think I'm going to call it. I've learned that pushing deeper into the night, it's not worth the productivity lost the next day. It's better to, like, after I'm done with this, I'm going to have some sake, clean up the kitchen, just clean up my space, get to bed, and get ready to hit it hard the next day, tomorrow. So that's it. First day in the life I've done in a long, long time. I did a few of these right when I quit my job. I should dig these back up, but holy shit, what a different time that was. 3, 4, wow, only 3.5 years ago. It's not that long ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago. So I enjoyed filming. Let's see how I enjoy editing this.